Okay, so the bond market on Tuesday was at the FMDQ exchange place was about 32.6 billion naira, and total treasuries traded was about 88, double digit, the first in the current week. A bit of a quiet Monday to start the week. Tuesday came in, then we're now looking at the third trading day. This is our opening call, as it were, on our fixed income streets. Let's get Nnamdi Olisa Eloka here, who is a fixed income and currency analyst at GT Bank. He's joining us from FMDQ Exchange Place. Nnamdi, good morning. It's good to have you here.
Good morning, Boston. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, where are we as we're starting today's trading day? But again, more importantly, I want to know what the strategies are if you, as you guys sit down at GT Bank, trying to plot your way through the current yield curve that we have and the move by the financial authorities, the central bank, the debt office, and the Ministry of Finance, trying to shape the yield curve in a way that it will reduce the expenses that the government pay on domestic borrowings via the debt market.
Thank you, Boston. I'm actually at Zcrest Capital, not GT Bank.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. My apologies. That's on me.
It's okay. It's
My
okay.
apologies.
So what we're seeing is, in respect to the bond market, it opened the week relatively quiet, but yesterday the bond market turned bearish. We saw yields trending higher as selling interest dominated on the mid to long end of the curve. So what's been shaping activities notably was we saw last week the DMO came out to say that they will be issuing a 30-year Naira bond for the first time this quarter. So that has quite kind of resulted in some bearish sentiments in the market, with yields trending progressively higher in the successive trading sessions. Also, the CBN has, in the previous week, maintained its spate of OMO issuances at even slightly higher rates. So that has also supported yield levels in the market. What we are seeing currently is that market positioning has been slightly bearish for bonds. And in the T-bills market, it's been relatively muted because of the continued interventions by the CBN, though there has not been any OM auction yet this week because system liquidity has been tight. Well, market players have remained constrained from any significant buying because of the tight system liquidity levels. What we are seeing is that the play has largely been on the short and the mid tenors. We've seen some buying interest on some short and mid tenor bills in the T-bills market, while the longer end of the curve has been relatively flat or even slightly bearish. So what traders are mostly doing now is taking a roll down strategy. So basically, you know that some of the longer term maturities that were issued at relatively attractive yields, as they become progressively shorter, we see that the rates tend to improve. So market players will be cherry picking on T-bills around the June, August, September tenors, because as they drop that to maturity, the rates tend to go progressively lower, and they can take profit at those lower levels. So that's been the strategy we've been seeing so far.
Okay, but then what's the bigger outlook in terms of midterm? If you're looking at, we can keep clogging the short end of the market. We need to move things a little bit, move the pace a bit longer, at least giving everybody a sense of where the future, at least the near future, lies. So from your perspective as Zcrest, where do you think the yield curve will go? You heard the debt office say, look, we're looking at floating a 30-year Naira bond to deepen the debt market and get and expand the yield curve, as it were, so in a manner of speaking.
Yeah, so there will be investors that will have interest for those long-term bonds. We expect that there will be some attraction to the long-term papers. But the issue around it for now in the midterm is that announcement has put the market in a slightly bearish position. We understand that the government has a huge financing gap this year, which we estimate to be even larger than what is proposed for in the budget that will soon be passed. So market players are actually looking at this, and I've said it repeatedly that this the financing gap and deficit of government is giving market players a source of concern. And offshore interest, which we saw in earlier part of this year, has largely dissipated. We've seen inflows at the I&E window becomes much more lower than they were at the first quarter of the year. So in the absence of significant offshore interest, locals have been slightly bearish, giving expectations for more borrowings by the government. So those sentiments have slightly dampened interest, and we've seen yields slightly higher. they've broken the soft resistance at 14.50%, and we saw yields trade as high as 14.75% in the market yesterday.
Nnamdi Oluseloka from Zcrest Capital. Thank you very much, FI, fixed income and currency analyst there. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Let's finish off with Temple Ashaju, live to us at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, is our business correspondent from the trading floor. Temple, good morning. Thanks for coming through. To wrap up the show for us, the stock market broad index is looking at about 0.1% in the green territory. It looks like that almost every morning, as it were. Temple, what is this signifying for today, the third trading day, when after we had a soft landing of 0.04% on Tuesday?
Well, things are looking fairly okay in the market right now. We're up some 0.11% compared to the entire loss of 0.04% that we saw in the market yesterday. And of course, the banking segment of the market is what is driving up the performance right now. We've seen that particular sector, the banking sector, up some 0.47% on account of some gains that we're now seeing on Zenith Bank, FCMB, and a couple of other banks in the market. We're seeing buy sentiment across these companies. If you look at the volume of transactions that we've seen so far, it's positive. I mean, on the top trades chart of the market, you'll find Zenith Bank there. You also find Transcorp there. Transcorp is about the most actively traded company right about now in the market. It tells you that we're still having a bit of the messes created by the FPI's exits, being mopped up by the domestic investors, a lot of them being retail investors, because you can't really compare what comes in from the retail investors with what the institutional investors have left behind Bosun.
Temple, just a quick one before we go. Tantalizers, one of the small cap, if you want to say, penny stock on the market, just announced to the stock exchange the resignation of two directors there. I can't remember the last time. When last did you have something at Tantalizers? This stock is no longer tantalizing as it was. Long lost that at the marketplace. What's your take here?
Well, I think it's a company that needs to do some kind of possibly restructuring, or basically just come up with a whole lot of new strategies, because I see a lot of Tantalizers buildings being taken over. There's a particular one on Ogudu Road that has been taken over by some other people. A few years ago, we know that they had a tussle with a particular bank, and then even though the bank is no more bearing that name now, it has now been taken over by some other investors. We know that the tussle that Tantalizer has had with some investors over the years has been really, really worrisome. But the fact that they are still listed here in the market gives some investors a bit of a hope over this particular company. So if you've bought into Tantalizers before and you're still seeing some announcements, some notices coming from the company right now, it's a good step in the right direction. Hopefully we'll get to see them revamping again in the market, Bosun.
Well, when you come to the marketplace, it's what you call never say die. Okay. Thank you very much, Temple. Let's check it. Maybe I'm going to check into one of their restaurants anytime these days, find out what is going on at that level. Maybe that's anything to do with the stock as well. Maybe we'll meet there sometime, Temple. You taking me out for that lunch. Okay, that lunch on you, Temple. Have a great day, everyone. This is your Business Morning, your breakfast show here on Channels Television. I'll see you again tomorrow, Thursday. Bye for now.